Man, so much happened in this episode of My Hero Academia that I kind of have to start things off with a rapid fire of all the different things. But before we get into it, make sure you like the video and make sure you guys are subscribed, because there's a lot more anime coming up in a few weeks that we're gonna be getting into, so make sure you guys stick around. If you like to see my reactions, sign up for the Patreon, because definitely there's gonna be a lot more content showing up over there, and you definitely do not want to be left out of the loop. Let's just start off with the rapid fire stuff that could easily have been missed if you weren't paying attention. Now first, Nagant gets out of the hospital, which is great for her, but you know, she pretty much still needed to be in the hospital because she was severely injured, a lot more injured than I thought. I thought, you know, even though she had the hospital clothes on and the bandages on, I thought she was a little bit more put together, but after she kept taking those shots and she's bleeding, like all her scars and everything that are trying to heal are bleeding, to the point where after she gets done shooting, she's literally just passed out in a pool of her own blood a little bit. Now, I don't think she's dead. I think she's just kind of knocked out and unconscious, but she did what she needed to do. She shot Shigaraki's hands clean off, although he was able to grow them back, which I figured he would, but yes, it did buy time for Deku to recover a few more seconds and then attack Shigaraki. Then we have here with La Brava, which I love the heart eyes. If you don't even notice it, the fact that she has these heart eyes and she's talking about Gentle Criminal, because Gentle's over here, he's like, man, it doesn't matter if I get claim to fame or anything, I'm just doing this just because, you know, this is what needs to be done. And then next thing he knows, he's like, wait, I'm being watched. Oh, wait, I'm being recorded. La Brava over here hits the button, and I think she just televised what he's doing to the world. You know what? Hey, Gentle does need more accolades because, you know, he wanted to be a hero so bad, but then ended up becoming a villain. So now he can actually be that hero that he always wanted to be. So you know what? I'm all for it. I actually love his character even more now than I did previously. You know, before it was all like kind of a joke and I felt bad for him a little bit, but now I love La Brava and Gentle's characters way more than I did previously. We had stuff about Shigaraki. Shigaraki's getting his body back, and he's actually fighting All For One inside of his own body and kind of taking over to the point that he's like, okay, all right, we're getting more and more Shigaraki out of here and less All For One. So thus the reason why All For One's trying to reach Shigaraki to kind of put more, you know, brainwashing power into him and more powers. And then part of All For One that's in Shigaraki wants to go and meet up, so then that way he can take his body over. You know, it's kind of like Orochimaru. The whole point was Orochimaru wanted to take over Sasuke's body. It's kind of the same difference. All For One pretty much has part of Shigaraki's body, but there's still some final things he has to do to it, and so they're trying to meet. But Deku's like, nah, we're gonna fight. Kirigiri may even have his memories back, ghastly Gengar looking dude, and he's all fighting with himself because Shigaraki's like, hey, why don't you come down here and help me? Warp me back to the master. Kirigiri's like, do I want to do that? Wait a minute, who should I be helping right now? But it looks like he might have helped his previous classmates, friends, the teachers. So I'm hoping that there's some intel about that in the future. Where did he warp them to? Where are they at? Did he get his memories back? Is he good now? Like, all these little things are like left in the loop. But hey, you know what? Gotta move that along, gotta keep going. And then finally, blink if you miss it, they updated the theme song. They actually added Gentle Criminal and Lady Nagant, like 2 frames into the theme song that was done this week. And I even compared it to last week to make sure that I'm not crazy, because I briefly saw it. I was like, wait a minute. So you can check that out in the reactions as well. Because I was like, wait, hold up. That wasn't there previously. So they got their dues, and I'm glad that they didn't spoil them in the theme song, because I straight up would have caught that on day one. It's like, oh, guess who's going to be showing up at some point? Well, they did, so thankfully, hey, it's updated. So now that that rapid fire stuff is done, let's get to some serious things right here, right now. Hawks. Hawks' death. Well, slightly death. Here it is, you think that Hawks is dead, and he's not. I for sure was like, ain't no way they're gonna kill someone off again that quickly. Now, granted, it would not surprise me if they do kill off a few people, but the way that it was just done, it was like, no way Hawks goes out that easily the way that he did. And thankfully it wasn't. It was actually an illusion done by Cammy, if you remember, from Shigetsu High School. Now, finally, Shigetsu High School has shown up on the scene. I was like, where have you guys been? I mean, you should have been here way earlier. Now, they did make kind of like a line to kind of explain why they didn't show up earlier. They said they were waiting for evacuees from UA and they never arrived. So since they never arrived, they're like, oh, they must be in trouble. Let's go check it out. And then they, I guess, trekked over however far it is. Now they're here. They should have been contacted from day one, but okay, sure. I guess they wanted to use them to protect the refugees that never came, the evacuees from UA, as they are somewhere else. Okay, sure, whatever. I mean, they're here now, so that's good. They're able to do a lot of the abilities that we've seen them do in the past. You know, the guy that controls the wind, which is very useful because, like I said before, with the twice clones everywhere, you want big AoE moves in order to take out all of the clones. So, hey, how about you make tornadoes all over the place? I think that would do a good job. So thus, that is what's happening and kind of helping and curtailing the damage from the twice clones. And it even seems like they've been able to die down Dabi's flames as well, because lo and behold, it goes into another thing. Tokoyami, who has Dark Shadow, makes a comment about how, hey, the flames are died down, this wind, everything's darker. Guess what that does? And then all of a sudden, Dark Shadow comes in. It's like, hey, what's going on? He made a punch with Dark Shadow that was very reminiscent of All Might. All For One did say how their history is like, you guys never knew a moment in time where you just grew up in fear. You grew up in an age of All Might and, you know, always looking at hope. And then the tornado guy's like, well, actually, I do know about it. I read it in the history books. It is like, really? Really? You want to show your age now? We're in a battle for death? Okay, sure, whatever. So I gotta give it up to them that they came to the rescue and that they are able to power up Dark Shadow, because Tokoyami's Dark Shadow is so necessary in this battle. All Might shared previously that All For One can't steal the quirks if he's just touching the quirk itself. It's one thing if he's touching the quirk, and he would have to touch actually like the person that owns the quirk. So that's the reason why Endeavor has been trying to fight with All For One and fire his flames everywhere. He can't steal the flames themselves. So thus, Dark Shadow is one of the perfect matchups against All For One, because he can't touch Dark Shadow and just steal Dark Shadow itself. He has to touch the person that's inside Dark Shadow. Well, you know what? We get a buffed up Dark Shadow with the wind, with Hawk's wings, and everyone else just buffing him from the darkness and everything. He just comes in with just a power up punch and just knocks the daylights of All For One, which was so freaking sweet. Like, look at this punch right here. He just crashed him straight into the ground. Now, of course, this is no way that this alone is going to kill All For One, but it definitely did something serious to him, that's for sure. And let's not mention the fact that after this happened, the end credits came up. And I was sitting there like, excuse me, why are we having the end credits already? Thankfully, there was some more added on scenes after the fact, which I can see why they added the credits after this, because this was so momentous that, you know, okay, have the end credits and then go on to the next story, next thing that we're going to be talking about, which of course is Toga, Twice, and Froppy. Poor Toga, she's going through some things right now, because yes, she's able to get in the battlefield, and yes, she's being used, now at this point, kind of being used by her feelings. This battle has become more emotional than you thought originally, because her powers are now being a manifestation of her emotions and how much she cares or likes or loves, however you want to say about a person. It's very important that, you know, she just kind of more than likes them or knows about them if she wants to use their quirks. So now she's coming to this battle, and there's a big difference between her and Twice. Twice, when he's alive, of course, would he clone somebody, the clones of them could use their quirks. But now Twice is dead. Toga is using Twice's ability. She has turned into Twice and making clones after clones and thousands to hundreds of thousands of them everywhere, even though some of the Twice clones are sprinkling in and being the other characters from like Shigaraki or Dabi from the League of Villains. They're not using their quirks like they should, which is like, wait, that's a little weird. So now Toga's going through a complex, and it's like, I like them enough, right? I like them enough to where they show up, but why aren't they using their quirks? Well, everyone else on the battlefield has now figured out that the battle could be a lot worse if she was able to do their quirks. For example, if she was able to make Shigaraki clones, she was able to make All For One clones, Dabi clones, and they actually had their powers in the mix of this, it would be all over. It would just be just a shutout, but she's not. So Froppy herself is all like, okay, I think I understand what's going on here. We have to find the real Toga as soon as possible, because if we can get her, then this battle will be all about emotion. We need to stop her before she starts to like and or love so-and-so villain and then use their quirks and abilities. Because if she's able to, i.e. make All For One, make Dabi clones, they're just dead. It's just over. So yeah, they are going around trying to find the real Toga, and Urahara is just sitting there like, okay, I was Toga, where would I be right now? And I love the fact that the way they did it was just so good for the viewer of the show, that they showed like all these Twice clones everywhere. I didn't know it was going to be a Where's Waldo type deal. It's like, all right, in all of these Twice clones, where's Toga? And then it showed the one that is Toga, and it's like zoomed in. It's like, oh, that's her right there. The one that's not fighting, the one that's kind of separated just a little bit, and the one that's looking at their own hands like, what's going on? It's like, ah, that makes sense. That is the real one. You know, maybe they'll do something like that for Urahara. She kind of will look around and then notice one of the Twice clones kind of different from all the others, and then realize there she is right there. Because it honestly just comes down to battle of attrition. Are they gonna find the real Toga, or is Toga gonna start to like, love someone of the League of Villains and then use their abilities? So thus, they're on the clock. Overall, another great episode from My Hero Academia. These battles are getting intricate, getting crazy, and they keep jumping between battlefields and then going into those battlefields. Hey, this is what happened in the past. While you guys saw this going on, this happened over here, and then that happened over there. And thus far, they're doing a really good job of kind of giving that storytelling, because it's not like it's confusing. Like, if you notice at the beginning of every episode, they show like all of Japan and show the different sites that the battles are at, and then kind of zoom in at a specific one, so you're not lost. I'm glad they use little things like that, so then that way us as the viewer are not confused, like, okay, how many more battlefields are there? What's going on over here? And they keep saying, hey, this happened a few minutes before that happened. So that way, mentally, you can follow everything. Great anime, and they're doing a good job right now. Definitely a stark contrast to the way this show has been when it first started, because now it's getting crazy and people are actually dying. The stakes are on the line. So tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. I think it was a great episode. Of the battles, I really want to see the Urahara versus Toga fight and how that plays out. Like, what's Urahara's plan to kind of breach the feelings of Toga, like try to breach into her mindset? And it's kind of the same way how Deku is trying to breach into the mindset of Shigaraki. They're both like trying to go at the hearts of them more so than just trying to fight it out. So man, I could just sit here and talk about this all day, but share what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think. And you know what? Am I off base, or you guys agree with me? Hey, let me know in the comments down below. But make sure you guys are not a stranger. Please subscribe and make sure you hit that bell notification for updates for future videos that are coming out, because hey, they're gonna be coming out. You just need to be here to watch them. You guys be safe, take care, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.